Welcome to the Microsoft 365 Outlook module in Avintra. In this video, we are going to build a practical email processing automation from start to finish using M365 Outlook connectors. Imagine that important business emails are being received in a shared mailbox. Our automation should identify unread emails, inspect them in detail, organize them into a dedicated processing folder, manage the folder lifecycle. Finally, send a confirmation email to the intended recipients. In real-world production scenarios, we can also use this with an email-based trigger new email arrives. However, for training purposes, the manual trigger gives us full control over when the flow executes. Here, the first action is List Emails. The List Emails connector retrieves email messages from a mailbox. The first input is Credential. This is the Microsoft 365 authentication configuration used to connect Avintra with Outlook. From the Credential dropdown, you select the already configured M365 account. The selected credential determines which tenant and mailbox permissions the flow can access. Next is Mailbox Address. Here we specify the mailbox we want to work with. This is especially useful when working with shared mailboxes or service accounts. The next input is Folder Name. This defines the Outlook folder from which emails should be retrieved. In this example, we use the test folder. You can specify Inbox or any custom folder available in the mailbox. Then we have Unread Only set to True. Only unread emails are returned. This is extremely useful in automation because it prevents already processed emails from being picked up again. If set to False, the connector retrieves both read and unread emails. Next is Only with Attachments. In this workflow, it is set to False because we want to retrieve all unread emails first. Then we have Include Attachments. The next field is Top. This controls the maximum number of emails returned. In our example, the value is 10, meaning the connector retrieves only the first 10 matching emails. Next is Skip. Skip is used for pagination. It tells the connector how many emails to ignore before starting retrieval. Once the emails are retrieved, the result output contains the email collection along with metadata such as sender, subject, received date, body preview, and attachment details if enabled. Now that we have identified unread emails, the next step is to inspect one email in detail using getEmail by ID. The getEmail by ID connector retrieves complete details of a specific email using its unique message ID. This is important because the List Emails node may return summary-level data, while detailed processing often requires the full message body and complete attachment information. We use its message ID dynamically from the previous node. Let's review the configuration. Credential and mailbox address work the same way as before. The key field here is Message ID. This uniquely identifies the email inside Outlook. Typically, this value is mapped dynamically from the output of the List Emails node. In real-world workflows, these values are usually mapped dynamically from previous node outputs to create connected automation. In this training example, however, we are using hard-coded values to make the configuration easier to understand and test. Next is Include Attachments. When set to True, the email attachments are retrieved together with the message details. This is useful because invoice emails often contain PDFs or spreadsheets that may later be processed by OCR, AI extraction, or storage systems. The output result with attachment now contains full email information including subject, sender, recipients, body content, and attachment binary data. Now that we have identified a valid invoice email, we want to organize invoice-related emails into a dedicated folder. That brings us to Create Mail folder. The Create Mail folder connector creates a new Outlook folder inside the mailbox. In our example, we create a folder called test_Avintra. The display name field defines the visible folder name in Outlook. Then we have is hidden. This is a true or false option. If set to true, the folder becomes hidden from normal Outlook navigation views. Hidden folders are useful for back-end automation scenarios where users should not manually interact with system-generated folders. If false, the folder is visible normally in Outlook. In our example, we keep it false so users can see the invoice processing folder. The output folder created contains details of the newly created folder, including its internal identifier. Now that the folder exists, we can move the invoice email into it. The Move Email connector transfers an email from one folder to another within the same mailbox. This is a common practice in email automation because oving emails helps visually separate processed items from pending ones. The Message ID field identifies which email should be moved. Again, this value is usually mapped dynamically from earlier outputs. The Folder Name field specifies the destination folder. In our example, we use test_Avintra. After execution, the email disappears from the original folder and is now available inside the destination folder. Now imagine the test folder has already been processed completely and the temporary folder is no longer needed. This is where Delete Mail folder comes in. The Delete Mail folder connector permanently removes a folder from the mailbox. The Folder Name field specifies which folder should be deleted. In our example, we delete the old test folder after migration and cleanup. This type of cleanup step is important in enterprise automation because unused folders can accumulate over time and clutter the mailbox structure. At this point, suppose the business decides the folder name should be more meaningful. Instead of test_Avintra, they want invoice processing. This is where Rename Mail folder becomes useful. The Rename Mail folder connector updates an existing Outlook folder name. Folder name specifies the current folder name. Display name specifies the new folder name users will see. In our workflow, test_Avintra becomes invoice processing. This helps maintain cleaner mailbox organization and makes workflows easier for business users to understand. Send email. The Send Email connector sends an email directly from the Outlook mailbox using Microsoft Graph API. Mailbox address specifies the sender mailbox. The To field defines the primary recipients. CC specifies carbon copy recipients who should receive visibility of the email. BCC specifies blind carbon copy recipients whose addresses remain hidden from other recipients. Subject defines the email subject line. Next is content type. This dropdown typically includes plain text and HTML. Plain text sends simple, unformatted content. HTML allows formatted emails with styling, tables, colors, hyperlinks, and structured layouts. Next is content. This contains the actual email body. Then we have importance. This dropdown usually includes low, normal, and high. Next is sensitivity, which include normal, personal, private, and confidential. In this workflow, normal is selected because the notification is operational. The final option is Save to Sent Items. This true or false setting determines whether the sent email should appear in the Sent Items folder of the mailbox. If true, the email is stored in Sent Items for auditing and tracking purposes. In enterprise workflows, keeping sent copies is usually recommended for traceability. The output Send Email result confirms whether the email was successfully delivered. At the end of this workflow, we have successfully built a complete Outlook email processing automation. The flow retrieves unread emails, inspects detailed content, creates folders, dynamically moves emails. For organization, renames folders. For business, clarity removes unnecessary folders, finally sends confirmation notifications. More importantly, notice how each node connects logically with the next one using shared business context and dynamic outputs. This is the foundation of scalable workflow design in Avintra. We have learned how to use Microsoft 365 Outlook module nodes in Avintra Agent Builder. Continue exploring the platform to build more intelligent automation workflows.